Sorry.
And we are recording. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Nightmare Road. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Decon, here with the very mysterious and creepy.
Ashley Oracle.
And today,
And
guys,
I
we
am,
have the what?
oh, I was going to introduce him. What are you doing?
Well, I was taking control.
You know what? Take control. Whatever. I'm just
All
kidding.
right, so today we have a very, very special guest. We have Mike the Soul Searcher. So, um, damn, and there's so many things
What?
I want to ask you. Let me just get this set up here. Okay. All right, brother. So, how long have you been investigating?
Uh, Probably 5.5 years now, ever since I retired.
Damn. So,
Oh, hell yeah.
but you know what's crazy is that in the world of investigation, so much can happen within a year. And if you know how to learn and adapt quickly, it's a lot of experience. 5 years?
Yeah.
Probably seen some crazy shit.
It's a never-ending process. You're always learning, and my big thing is learning. Try to decipher what you're getting. Is it actually evidence, or is it something you can debunk? So that's the hard part about it. Because at first everybody's all excited, and then after a while you start realizing, okay, I can explain this. Whereas so I just try to my main thing is trying to decipher if it's actual, if it's something actual that I can't explain, or if it's something that I can figure out and try to debunk what it was. So
Yeah. And I think that a lot of inexperienced people, they take, anything as evidence, without. And I don't know if that has to do with they're just excited, or maybe they just you know put their heart and soul into it so much that they're willing to, you know what I mean? Just like they kind of cast aside that part of your brain, which is like, let's decipher this, and more like, this is true. You know what I'm trying to say?
I get it. I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit of both of what you said, because I know when I first started out, I was getting things and I was getting excited, and then you go through the evidence, you're going, okay, I can explain that. It's not exactly what I thought it was and stuff like that. So at first, you do get excited, and then when you start having your real experiences, then you start understanding more that not everything is as it seems. And my thing is that you have to experience the real stuff before you can try to figure out the fake stuff.
Yeah, and in that way you do have something to measure off of. Um,
Exactly.
because there's so many, like, I've talked to investigators that they say that, you know when something happens, you know the feeling is this, and you're like, well, maybe not, but then the experience is very real. Like, you start feeling that heaviness in the air. You start
Hmm.
feeling that, almost like some people have described it like static, like behind your head. Like that feeling, like, damn, like something's here.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
can't
no,
explain it.
trust me, I understand. And what's weird with me is there was something that happened to me on one of my investigations at Jamestown and in California. And after that investigation, I started feeling like actual emotions. So, I mean, there's been a couple times where I've actually broke down crying and I have no idea why I'm actually crying. So,
Oh,
something
wow.
happened to me there and it made me more sensitive to emotions.
Would you mind explaining that investigation more, or is it too personal?
No, no, it's fine. I mean, it'll be on I don't know when it's going to air, but Ghost Adventures actually did an episode there, and
Oh, nice.
I'll be on that episode whenever it airs, if it airs. It's the Jamestown episode, so you'll be able to
Oh,
see.
cool.
So what had happened is the video's on my TikTok and my YouTube. So, but
We'll leave a
I
link
don't
at
know.
the
I
end.
don't remember the whole experience. All I remember is what's on the videotape. But
Hmm.
apparently, I got possessed for some reason.
Okay, and okay, and did you ever feel that you yourself had an ability, like an empath, or do you think that the experience there is so strong? So, like, for example, I talked about this before, where you go into an environment and somebody had an altercation or somebody, and you feel that heaviness in the air, and you don't know and you have no idea that somebody just got into a fight. You walk in there and everything seems fine. The two parties that fought, now they left, but that heaviness is still in there, and you come in there and then your adrenaline goes up, your heart begins to, you're like, okay, what the hell's going on? You know? Or
Mhm.
do you feel like you could have an ability where you take in those emotions? You know what I'm trying to say?
I think. Well, let me step back. I spent most of my life working in prisons and jails, so my
Yeah.
Hell
sensitivity and
yeah.
alertness was already instilled in me. And like I
Yeah.
don't like people walking up behind me because I can actually feel people behind me without even knowing that somebody's there. So I have that. I already have that sensitivity to be aware of my surroundings. Um, the other, I think I don't know why, but like the first, jeez, hold on. The first time I realized it, pop ups. The first time I realized it is we were in Virginia City. I was with Kelly and Jeff, my other two team members, and Kelly had a room at the Silver Queen, which is a really old 1800s hotel in Virginia City. And we were going up to her room to get ready for the nights at the Washoe Club investigation. And we were having a good time. We were smoking and joking. I walked into the bathroom and I walked out, and I'm just like feeling good. And I sat down in the chair in the corner. And then for some unknown reason, I just got really quiet and I got really, really sad. And I can't,
Mm.
I wouldn't say an empath because I can't explain it and I just feel. So I don't know how or why. And like I was at the Washoe Club one
It's
time,
empathic though.
and I was doing an investigation and actually communicating with who I thought was Debbie Constantino. And what's weird is I had just visited her grave earlier that day and did a little thing there and used my Ovilus and got a couple responses that were pretty relevant to the whole case. And so that
Can,
night I went back, we did the Washoe Club, and that was one of her favorite places to investigate, I've been told. And we were sitting at the table, and I have a paralantern, and I like that because I've got a lot of good communication through it, like yes or no questions, like is this Debbie, and it'll start going nuts. And so we had a group around us because I was doing a weekend tour with a lady who was putting on a ghost hunts for like people who are interested but don't really do it and they can pay. And we had these three areas, and I was running the thing around the table at the Washoe Club. And I was there for a while, and we were getting some responses. And then all of a sudden, I said, I got to get up. And I walked away, and I went into the other room and went by the windows because it was like cooler there. And so a few minutes later, I felt okay, and I walked back into the room. And the people I was with, the gal asked me a question. I just literally started crying, tears running down my face. And I have no idea why I started crying because the question she asked me didn't mean anything. I don't know.
yeah.
It was really tears. I mean, I was physically crying, and I like I said, I don't know. I just started feeling
I would
things.
have probably cried with you. I would
No,
have
it is one of those things where there's a lot of emotion tied to a certain area, or you know, there's damn. What was that place? Remember Bobby Mackey when I was around? And
yes.
yeah, and there was a place where you would go down to the basement, and just walking in, it could be five of you, and one of the people there just started breathing heavy, and it's like, what is going on? It was just like, and they explained just like an extreme sense of rage, you know, and it's just like I like just don't talk to me right now. I'm not okay. And it's like, hey man, you all right? Like, just don't touch me because I could punch you. Don't touch me because I'm getting this strong urge. And they're like, what is wrong? They're like, I have no idea. I'm just extremely pissed off. And it's just those environments. Whatever's there,
Yeah,
it's just heavy, you know.
yeah.
And
That Oh, I'm sorry. That kind of happened to me at the David Oman House in Beverly Hills, California. And I don't know
Okay,
if
yeah,
you know about the Oman House, but this
yeah,
house is just not too far away, foot away from, like 50 feet away from the front gate of the property where Sharon Tate was murdered, along with the
yep,
others.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing an investigation, and we were downstairs, and one of the gals I was with, she brought up the crime scene photos on the
Ooh, this
her
is
phone,
giving
and
me
they're
chills.
pretty graphic crime scene photos,
yeah.
and it was all quiet until she started bringing up these photos, and we started asking questions, and all the little things I had on the table, they all started going crazy at once, right? And she'd take them away and take it off, and everything quiet down, and then she'd bring them back up, and I'd ask Sharon, "Is this you?" And my Paralantern started going nuts and stuff, and then I started feeling like about 15 minutes into it, not only anger and being pissed off, but also sadness. It was kind of a mixed emotions of a whole bunch of things. And that's another one. I had to pull myself away from that environment. I had to go outside on his steps and take about 5 minutes of getting some air and stuff, because it was just so heavy and it affected me really bad. So
Yeah, that
Wow.
place, holy shit.
yeah,
Because
were
a
we
lot
in
of people,
contact with Sharon Tate? I don't know, but everything
that's
that led
that's what
up
I
in
was
that
gonna
was,
say.
yeah,
There
it
was
was
just
very,
so much darkness.
very possible it was. I can't say for sure, but yeah,
You,
so that one affected me.
it was what you said is really interesting, because there was been people that, even being on the sidewalk, near the place,
Mm-hmm.
there was women that, when a woman goes near that place, they get this sense of fear, like gripping fear. And
Yep.
when there's guys around, they get this sense of being extremely pissed off. And then it's just interesting how it affects people differently.
Yeah.
And could it be, you know, Sharon, or is it the dark energy that led these people to do what they did?
And
Maybe a little bit of both.
I truly believe no matter where we're at, we always leave a little bit of ourselves there as far as the energy. So maybe it's the energy, of victims that are still there lingering at that point in time. So, but it's something it was sad and it was pissed. I felt they were angry and sad at the same time. So,
And you guys are out of Vegas,
yes.
and Vegas is notorious for being, an unmarked graveyard. That
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet the history there is wild.
Yeah. So, my house may be on top of something. I don't know, but I haven't had any experiences here. But so, because this place I live in was built in 95. So, prior to that, it was all desert out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Vegas was built. It was built by mobsters.
Yeah.
Specifically for they call Sin City, specifically for that. The murder, the rob, all that kind of shit, and they wanted to be far enough away to where, if law enforcement was actually going to try to enforce the law, they got a long drive to get there. And there was a time in it. Well, yeah, there was a time in Vegas where it was contested turf, because they saw it as, this is a great place because it's so isolated, and different mob families wanted the area. They wanted to take control, and it became a pretty brutal, area to contest. The bodies that are out in the Mojave is insane.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it, every
Well,
once in a while, all it takes is for a strong wind, and then you realize that you see some rotten shoes, out in the sand, and you're like, what the hell is
Oh,
this? Well, yeah,
God.
because it's everywhere.
just think back a
Barrels.
couple years ago when they were finding these bodies, when the water level on Lake Mead went down, and they were finding all these bodies in there.
Yeah, and
Couple of
barrels.
them, barrels, yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Gross.
I imagine the type of energy, because that place, holy shit, that place was a hotel, a giant hotel for the most notorious murderers.
Yeah.
To go
Well,
in there, I could just dark.
I just did an investigation of an area what they call the Boulder City tunnels, and it's
Mhm.
like a trail right there by Lake Mead, right there by the entrance to Lake Mead. And you go walk this path up the side of the hill here, and there's like 5 tunnels. And what this was the rail system for all the equipment that was shipped over to the Hoover Dam when they were building it. I mean, all the tracks are gone, the tunnels are still there, and did some research, and the tunnels are supposedly haunted. The third one is the third tunnel, number 3, is where most of the energy was. And Kelly and I went up there to investigate. And it's a 2-mile hike from the parking area. So we went up there to investigate it. And I had my tripwire. A tripwire is a long string that has independent EMF detectors along. And then I had my paralantern going. And inside the tunnel, the whole investigation, they were both going off simultaneously, the whole investigation. So, and then I started feeling a whole bunch of energy inside this tunnel. And Kelly really doesn't get affected by stuff when we do investigations. And this actually, she was starting to feel stuff here in this tunnel. And that was the first time for her actually feeling something. So the energy, and it was really heavy inside this one tunnel. And I had my camera set up on a tripod, and I had just walked by it. And when I walk by, I always check the battery life on it, and it was over half still. Walked over there, and about a minute after I got about 50 feet in front of it, Kelly goes, "Hey, Mike, your camera just fell over." And so I went over there and picked it up, and the tripod was sturdy, so I don't know why it fell over, but the camera was completely dead.
It was dead, using it as a
no.
food source. Yeah, and the Hoover Dam, that area. So when they built it, a lot of people actually died building that dam. It got to the point where the government said, a lot of American workers are dying, so we need to start bringing in people, seeing if we can get people from Mexico. It's actually brought a lot of people from Mexico to work on the Hoover Dam and in those tunnels, specifically because of the conditions and the death toll. So can you imagine how bad a work environment has to be for the government to be like, you know what, too many of our people are dying? And
We can bring
unfortunately,
others.
well, yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of these people
Terrible.
were Mexican. They ended up dying, so no one came to claim the bodies. So what did they do? They just threw them in there with the concrete, buried them in the tunnels.
Oh.
So yeah, so talk about heavy, that place,
Yeah.
especially because it's, what does it do? It's surrounded by water. Water is an excellent conductor for energy. So
This is
imagine the amount of energy surrounding that place. Just damn.
Yeah, but you
It
can
feels
definitely
like it would almost be overwhelming.
Yeah, that's what it was just like. I mean, it was overwhelming, the energy inside this tunnel, and they're only a couple hundred feet long, so each tunnel's not real.
Oh, really? That's not very
Yeah.
long at all.
No. So there's a series of 5 tunnels, and it just goes alongside. But this number 3, because we did 1 and 2 on the way back, and we didn't get a whole lot there. So number 3 was the heaviest of the 3 tunnels we did, and there was some serious energy inside that tunnel because it was affecting all my EMF stuff I had out.
So if you can take 3 pieces of equipment to an investigation, what are you bringing?
I'm going to definitely bring probably my paralantern or a REM pod. I'm going to bring probably a K2 meter for EMFs, and I'm going to bring a digital voice recorder, try to get some EVPs.
So for the people that don't know, can you explain each one of those pieces of equipment?
Yeah, the K2 is it measures electromagnetic field. So if you're getting any kind of energy impulses, it'll start going crazy. And when you use those, you got to try to debunk, if it's a power source somewhere around you, and so if you can't figure, like in the middle of a tunnel, where is there a power source?
Yeah.
So that'll tell you that, okay, I may have something here, and you can start the other investigations. And the REM pod and the paralantern kind of work along the same where you can actually use them for communication, and it'll tell you if you're getting some kind of energy spikes there. And in the digital voice recorder is just you can ask questions. You try to get responses that you can't hear with your own ears that the digital voice might pick up, because a lot of the Class A's I've gotten are really faint and they sound distant. So those are the three things anybody can investigate with any of those three things. But I think a
Damn,
lot
you
of
probably
people,
got some crazy EVPs.
oh yeah, I have, like I said, I got some on my, like, Washoe Club. I've got some there. I've got one. We were at a hotel room here in Vegas, this old hotel where two well-known people had passed away 4 months apart from each other in the same room.
Oh shit!
And yeah, I got some good SLS stuff there coinciding with the paralanterns going off. But it was toward the end of the night and we were getting tired and we were joking and we were doing the Estes method. And I had another married couple with us, and the wife was actually sitting in the bathroom with the husband, Kelly, and I sitting in the main room where the bed was. And she had the headphones on the spirit box, and we just started joking and we started laughing. And we got on the subject of boobs. I don't know how it came up, but we got on the subject of
Well, yeah,
It's a
Vegas.
good subject.
yeah.
I mean,
So the
come on.
husband, he said, he asked a question. He goes, "Is one boob the same as the other?" And from the bathroom, all you hear her yell, "Yes!" So she had the noise canceling headphones on. He asked if one boob's the same as the other, and you hear a yes come out of the bathroom simultaneously. So
That's
that was
that's one of
pretty
those
funny.
things.
She hadn't said a whole lot to that point. And I
I
actually
feel
had
like
that
that's
audio
universal
on
language.
my TikTok and YouTube, so you can go in there and listen to that. You get a chance.
I'm gonna have to go in and
That's
listen.
kind of
That's
the fun
Yeah.
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll leave a link in the description to your stuff, brother. Damn, I would like to go to Vegas and just like walk the street. I mean, but it is really fucking noisy, so I don't know how much we would get. But just go to a quiet place and see if we can get any crazy like hooker EVPs. You know,
Hooker EVPs.
Yeah.
We could
Well-
put a sticker on a hooker.
the what?
We could put our sticker on a hooker. We could finally fulfill what we say in
And-
almost every episode. Putting
Yeah,
a
and then
sticker on a
put
hooker.
a sticker on a hooker. No, because
Great.
okay, so if you talk to any, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to a prostitute. If you talk to a prostitute, they have some crazy stories. Now, imagine the type of stories that a deceased prostitute from the 1920s in Vegas. That, like I said, back when it was being formed, the amount of chaos that was going. Imagine what they have to say. You know.
We need Vegas right now.
Fuck it, let's go. I'll hop on a damn
Just
car
go
to
there.
drive.
But you pretty much nailed this, because I was on another podcast this last week, and they had asked if how haunted I thought Vegas was in general, and I said I guarantee you, no matter where you go in Vegas, there's you can get stuff. The only problem with is the
Really?
main areas. There's so much noise and so much commotion. Is you're not going to be able to do a proper investigation, and you're never going to know what you have.
So much
But I
pollution.
guarantee you, Vegas in general, no matter where you go, if it was quiet and you can actually do a investigation, you're going to find stuff.
Should have
Yeah,
gone
so-
there during COVID.
That's
Yeah.
when I moved here during COVID.
Everything was shut down. It was
Yeah,
probably
it was
pretty
like-
quiet.
It was like a ghost town.
Have
What
you ever
would
been
say
to a?
your favorite Vegas hotspot though, for like an investigation, EVPs? Like, what's your favorite spot?
There's a room at the Apache Hotel, which is a part of Minions, and the Apache is the old part of Minions. And there's only 4 stories to this, and on the 4th floor, there's only one room that you can rent, and that's the only room on that floor. You got to go up to the 3rd floor, get off the elevator, and take a stairwell that walks up this narrow stairwell. And at the top of the stairs, there's a door in front of you, and there's a door to the left. I mean the right, my military right, but to the right. And that room is still set up to look like the 40s, back in the day.
Oh, cool.
And the door in front of you leads to the old count room area and stuff like that. And it has a room in there that they don't let us go investigate, but there's a room in there that has a drain in the floor with a water hose.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we all know what that was used for. But
So
but that room was pretty active. I was actually doing the Estes method in the closet, and Kelly was out in the bed area, and I had my one of my REM pods sitting next to me, and I was listening to the Spirit Box on my headphones, and all of a sudden, corner of my eye, I see the Spirit Box start going off, and then I felt like something had grabbed my shoulder, and I jumped up out of there. I screamed like Kelly, I jumped up out of the closet. That kind of was surprising because this starts going off, and it actually felt like a hand on my shoulder.
yeah,
I jumped
You're
out of that
oh,
closet.
hell
So,
no.
yeah, so that was
yeah.
kind of
In those old hotels, especially if they were owned, like Butsy Siegel owned a lot of hotels, not just in California or nightclubs, but in Las Vegas. So
he started the
top,
Flamingo. Yeah.
yep, yep. A lot of those top floors are where you conduct your business. So if you were a guy and you were one of the wise guys, you know, immediately you would go and you would ask for a room in the top floor. And if you were to ask for a room in the top floor specifically, the person on the person that was receptionist immediately knew, like, okay,
Naughty.
you know exactly where you were going. And the reason why and what's crazy is a lot of those old hotels and casinos, one of the rooms actually does have a drain in the, with water because, there's so they conducted business. And they also had, so one of the things that was crazy was if you go to these old hotels where it's still like in the style of the 1940s, and all that kind of stuff, the one thing that you do see is that if everything is untouched, you're able to open a cabinet, and what you see is just a stack of shower curtains because they were bringing those over, conducting business, and then they would just tear that shower curtain down and just have somebody replace it. There's actually a great book. It's
Awesome.
called Murder Machine, and Murder Machine is it's based on the DeFeo and what the hell was that guy's name? Oh
I have no
man,
idea.
yeah, it was a great book about these hitmen that
You want
were
me to
hitmen.
Google it?
Sure, go ahead. Roy DeMayo. Okay,
Oh.
Roy DeMayo, and he was a hitman for the mob, and he started doing it without charging because he loved it so much, and his specialty was cleaning up the mess. And he would just go, and he had his suitcase, and he had his butcher knife, he had his 22, and he had a shower curtain. And that's all he had in his thing.
How would you like the most disgusting part of the business?
He just had an
Cleaning up
itch.
the mess? That's just gross.
He just had an itch, and you got to think, Vegas was the
Think
place
he'd
to
leave
go.
that for the bitch?
And so, well, no, the man was he was, a lot of the people saw him as an artist. Like this guy was neat. He would butcher a body, then order pizza, and a lot of these, and a lot of these places in Vegas, when they would tell you like, hey, we're gonna conduct some business, meet me at this hotel top floor, one of two things are gonna happen. You're gonna make a lot of money in the next couple of days, or you're never
Or you're
leaving
gonna
Vegas.
die.
You're never leaving Vegas. And guess where they would dump you? Out in the Mojave.
Yep.
So
Let
and
the
that happens
animals
a
get
lot.
you.
So or they put you in a barrel and they find you at the bottom of Lake Mead. So
like me.
yeah, so then that's why I when I saw that you were a paranormal investigator in Vegas, I'm like, holy shit, this, the amount of activity, in that area. So I would think you'd have, I was like, this guy's got some stories.
Yeah, we the only thing is it's because of the tourists, it's hard to get into places around here, and a lot of places, like we're trying to get into a room right now where a man killed his wife in there, and they never found her body, but all the evidence showed that she was actually cut up in the room. Like there's all blood evidence in the bathtub, and they ripped up the carpet.
No.
There's a whole bunch of blood evidence under the carpet, but the place doesn't really like people to come up and say, I want to rent this one room specifically because they kind of know what's going on, and I don't think they want that kind of publicity.
Publicity. Yeah.
Yep. So
I
it's
just
hard to
heard
find
this room's
places.
really nice. It's like a honeymoon suite. Gotta
Yeah.
stay in it.
Well, we were a few years ago. While COVID was going on, we're going to try to rent the Elvis suite up on the top floor of the Westgate because he's supposedly still haunting up there, and we just never got around to it. And then back then, a few years ago, it was still kind of reminiscence of the era that he actually lived there. And now they kind of remodeled it, and now it's like 20 grand a night. So
Damn.
it's way above
Holy
my pay
shit.
grade. Yeah. So
You imagine the type of EVPs you would get there. You're like, is anybody
Oh, yeah.
here? It's like,
yeah. If I could get up into the hallway there and it was quiet enough, I'd do EVP session up there.
hey, they're
Oh,
like, I heard you
yeah.
want to talk to me. Go ahead and talk to me, baby.
Yeah.
Let me see what you're
They
gonna say.
a really rich celebrity and get them to rent out the room.
Yeah, Zach
well,
Baggins, go up there.
Yeah. You should have
So the
talked
hard
to
part-
him.
The hard part about Vegas is just a lot of places don't want you doing stuff like that. This one room
Yeah.
at the Apache, you can rent that out, and they'll even at the desk, if you request it, they'll give you a little ghost hunting kit to take up to the room with you.
Oh, no shit.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah, it was just, no, it's just so crazy because a lot of people think, I want to go to a place where it's really active. I want to go to Europe and go to a castle. And it's like, what about places in the United States? Like,
You can go anywhere that people live, ghost towns, anywhere that people live, anywhere in the world, and you're going to have energy. So you don't have to go far away.
yeah, just anywhere, damn, especially Vegas. And you had talked in the beginning of this podcast about you believe you've gotten possessed during an investigation.
Yeah, let's get back to that.
Yeah, so this was I'll kind of explain it in a nutshell for you. This was a 2-day investigation, and I was kind of having weird things happen to me the first night I was there. Like, I was sitting in the chair from the room across from my room, because this hotel is an old hotel, and it's like only 7 or 8 rooms. And the group I was with, we rented out every room. So we had the whole place to ourselves all night, just this group. And I was sitting in the room across from mine, because that was like the staging area when we get together and stuff. And I was just sitting in the chair, and it felt like, you know how you have somebody take a finger and just like poke it in the side of your ribs, and it really hurts and it feels like a cramp.
Mm-hmm.
I doubled over in pain because it felt like something was poking me in the side. And in the same room later on that night, the first night, my youngest son was with us, because I grew up in that area, and he was just still living in the area down the road. So he came up with me, and in front, straight ahead, is another bedroom, part of the room I was in. And my son and I were talking, and then there was this bear, like stuffed bear, sitting on the corner of the bed, and it had been there all day. And my son are talking, and then I'm just looking at the bear, and all of a sudden I just see the bear slowly fall over after it's been sitting in the same spot all day. And in that same room, there was a REM pod sitting on top of a duffel bag on the dresser. And my son and I were in there talking, and he bumped the dresser accidentally, and the REM pod fell. He caught it and put it back up. And I just happened to have my Ovilus on, and the only word that popped up was dropped.
Huh.
So.
Oh, interesting.
So the first night we went down, a few of us went down in the basement. We were running an investigation, really nothing that I thought of. And then when I went back later, I got a response that kind of coincided with what happened to me the next night. So the next night I went down into the basement by myself. And when you go down into the basement, you can either go to the left, which is a small area, which is their wine cellar. And if you go to the right, it leads into a bigger room with the walk-in reefer back there. And behind the walk-in reefer, there's a space just wide enough to walk back all the way to the corner of the building. So in my mind, I'm going to go all the way back to the corner of the building, the darkest part of the basement. And on my way back in there, I just stopped. And I don't want to say I heard a voice in my head, but it felt like something didn't want me to go back there. I just stopped, and I was feeling like I shouldn't go back there. But at this point, I was relatively new to paranormal, so I just brushed it off and said, I'm going to go back there. So I went back there, and that was the last thing I remember. And then the next thing I remember is I'm upstairs. You walk up the stairs and you go immediate left and right, and you're in the bar area, the dining area of this hotel. And next thing I remember is I'm looking around the room, like trying to figure out where the hell I am. And finally I heard my buddy say, "Hey, are you okay, Mike? Are you okay?" And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And because I had no idea. The only thing I know about the whole, I don't even know how I got up there. The only thing I remember is stepping out. I remember being in the basement, and then I'm like looking around trying to figure out where I am and realizing I'm upstairs now. And I don't know how I got from point B to point A. So
it was
Wow.
instant.
And in the video, it just shows them like doing the prayer of St. Michael and dousing holy water on me. And
Yeah.
because I was doing some weird stuff and I had no idea what it was. And then Ghost Adventures got a hold of the video and called me and said, if we do it, you want to come? So they finally, 3 years later, they decided to do it and got a hold of me. And I went in there and I went back into that place. And I guess Zach was talking to me, he knew it affected me because, I guess he saw it in me. And then I guess he asked me if I'd go back down in the basement with him. And I went back down there, and I'm not going to say a whole lot because the show hasn't aired yet, but I left. I guess I can't be down here, and I left. And they wanted me to go back. They wanted me to go back in there. I said I won't go back in there. So the Jamestown Hotel is
wanted you to go
one
back
place
in.
I'll never go back into because there is something there that does, like, people can go in there and not have anything, but with me, I was in there 3 years later. I went in there and it was still affecting me, whatever it was. So I can't. That place is no good for me.
Do you think? You said you heard a voice in your head that was saying stop.
I don't. I say voice, but it was like a feeling, maybe not to go back there.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like something made me stop, and I had the feeling that I shouldn't go back there.
Do you think that what ended up, and like I said, like I wouldn't even say like taking whatever occurred? Do you think that it was the same thing that was telling you to stop, or do you think something was warning you to just not go in there because this could happen?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know if it was something telling me they didn't want me back there, and I went back there anyways and made them mad, and so now they're mad at me, or it was something telling me not to go back there because this could happen to me. So
this could
I don't
happen.
know which was. But here a few months ago, I was going through some of my old SD cards from the recorder with video on it, and the first night in the basement, and this hadn't dawned on me until I saw the video, that I was down in the basement with like 3 or 4 others, and my Ovilus said devil, and
Oh shit!
I didn't realize at the time. So a few years after the fact, I'm going through all this old evidence, and I have something right there telling me devil, and then the next night this happened to me. So,
Damn, you know what's crazy?
Did your body like feel stiff, or did you like feel like, you know what I mean? Like when you finally came to, did you like feel any different other than mentally? Did you feel any different physically?
I felt dehydrated, and I felt like I needed sleep, and all I wanted to do was sleep.
The worst 2 feelings combined.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that's a very common thing when somebody feels like something has, not even if something has taken control of their body, but like something has latched on. A couple of the 2 things that everyone says is they feel extremely thirsty and they just feel exhausted, almost like whatever is in there is just draining. It's just feeding. And and our body is composed mostly of water, right? Water and electricity. So I wonder if it's just dehydrating you, and just feeding off of you. And then once they get what they want, then you just let you go. and they just leave you drained, just like one of those sketchy hookers from Vegas when you wake up and you realize that they stole your wallet.
I wouldn't know about that.
Completely drained.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
I guess Decom knows all about it or something.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. I plead the fifth. No, it's just so bizarre. So also, I've heard stories where the reason why I asked you, like, do you think that something might have tried to prevent you from doing something is, I don't know if you believe in, in the thing of spirit guides or people that watch over you in the afterlife, but going in somewhere and just that small, and like you said, you don't know whether it was a voice, but it was more of a feeling, like something speaking like directly into you, not like in your head, telling somebody like, stop. Because there's stories where somebody will say something tells them to stop or to turn around, and they pause enough to think like, okay, what's going on? All of a sudden, a car plows into the room, or they're like, I don't want to go in here because of whatever, and they turn on, they leave. Turns out there was a gas leak in that room, and if they was gone in there, they could have passed that. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I believe there's probably people have guardian angels that look out for them per se. So I don't know.
I wonder if that's what it was. Like, they don't go in
I have
there.
had a lot of things happen to me in my life where I should have been dead, and I'm still here.
Same.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some moments I should have probably been gone. It's fine.
Well, I mean,
Damn.
I plowed into a horse at 70 miles an hour in a Hyundai Accent, and the horse actually came in the car with me, and I lived through it. Didn't even brake. Didn't even see the horse.
Are you alive?
Yeah, and people saw the car, and I go, "We don't know how you're still alive."
Damn, it's just like those photographs when there's like a horrific accident, and and then the street cam will take a picture because of the speed, and then you just see, a light in there with someone seconds before something happens, and it's like, damn, you should have been ripped in half by this vehicle, and all they have is this like light inside. It's almost like something's in there, kind of like holding. You know what I'm trying to say?
I get you. I believe there's something to that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I can't explain why I'm still here. I mean, that accident alone should have killed me because it came into my car.
Probably. Sorry.
And I had a big point. The whole top of my car was a big point right where my head was. Flew over my car, hit the back window, and my steering wheel was bent down, and the car caught fire. I'm still here. How do you hit a horse at 70 miles an hour that comes into the car with you to the point you're covered in horsehair and blood? And
Yeah.
So I can't. I don't know.
This.
Yeah, and it's just those moments where, even the paramedics or somebody's like, damn, like I was expecting to find hamburger inside this car, and
you're
they have
talking to me.
Yeah, and they have no explanation, and that fucks with them. They gotta go home, and they're like, "What the hell happened? Like, how the hell is this, possible?" You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And
well, like me, I was afraid to drive for almost a month after the accident.
Yeah,
I didn't want to drive anymore. So
it's just that fear response, and it's a survival response. Your body and your mind will adapt to certain things, and it's like your body's like, hey, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
And But it's the same thing with the paranormal. I mean, there's some people out there that it's almost like they adapt to certain situations where there's a bad situation, and before they walk into a house, they're like, "Damn, like I don't think I could go in there out of nowhere." And then somebody will tell you, like, "Did you know that this house has been rumored to have demonic entities in it?" And you may have had an experience where you were possessed or you experienced something horrific. And it's almost like you didn't know that there was a demonic presence in his home, but something in you just stops you. Like, yeah, don't go in there. And you're like, I don't think I can go. You know what I'm? And
that's exactly what happened to me in the basement. But I was still relatively new to the paranormal. So, I mean, if it would have happened to me today, I'd probably really think about not doing it. But I'm a dummy sometimes, so I can't say that I wouldn't. But
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it's just that experience. You're just lacking experience at the time, but then now you're kind of like, all right, or at least when you go in there, you're a little bit more prepared, because you have an idea of what may happen. You know,
There's
like
plenty of stupid
like I
shit
said, whatever
said
it
that
is
I
at that place. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good.
Okay. Well, whatever it is at that place was affecting me 3 years later when I went back with Ghost Adventures. So it's
See, and
something.
that's pretty crazy because that same energy is there. It hasn't left in any way, shape, or form, and it recognized you when
Yeah.
you went back.
And I don't know because I'm from that area where I went to high school is just 20 miles down the road from this area. So I don't
Oh,
know
wow.
if it's something that knows me or knew me or is I don't know, But
just watch Duke.
Maybe a
Yeah.
family member of yours. What did your family grow up in that area?
No, my family actually grew up in Santa Cruz, California,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't move to the Central Valley till I was a sophomore in high school. So my
Gotcha.
grandma did live in Sonora, just up the road a little ways, and I had my uncle moved to Oakdale. Is the reason why we moved to Oakdale, but we came shortly after they did. So nobody actually grew up in the area. Everybody just kind of
Interesting.
But it's one of those towns or one of those
migrated
areas
there.
where people are just drifting through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder maybe a past life.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never been affected to the point where I'm afraid to go into a place like I am that place.
Yeah, just survival. That's all it is. Just that instinct kicking in, and the memory. I mean, there's people out there that have conducted an investigation at some point when they were teenagers, did something they shouldn't have, and they go back many years later. Now, retired, and they're like, I think I'm gonna bring some spice into my life. I'm not gonna go for the Vegas hookers. Instead, I think I'm gonna go investigate. So they go to certain areas and they're like, I was here when I was a teenager, and then, they do the EVP session, and then this thing says their name, and it's like, holy shit, I haven't been here in like 40 years.
Yeah.
It's just some people, and I don't know if they remember everyone or if it's just a very distinct person, like somebody that stands out to them. Like,
Yeah.
Did remember you?
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
I've had my name come up in different areas on EVPs and the Ovilus, and my name came up a few different times. Like we're at Asylum 49 in Utah.
yeah.
My buddy Brian and I were sitting in a room by ourselves, and we're doing we're asking questions using the REM pod and the K2, and so we're just sitting in there asking questions. If anybody wants to communicate with us, you can use this and this and this. And we were in there probably, I don't know, half hour maybe, and we weren't getting anything. And I had my Ovilus on the whole time, and not one word popped up, right? So Brian says, hey, we're going to go. Maybe next time we could, come back, and maybe if you want to talk to us next time, we can try to talk to you again. And I started getting out of my chair, and 2 words popped up on my Ovilus: Mike, pray. And I'm like, what the hell? Out of a half hour in there, my name pops up and pray. I said, no, I'm out of here, man. I'm getting the heck out of here. But
Can you explain to people how the Ovilus works? Like,
it's just a device that has words programmed into it, and it's designed to let the spirits or energy or whatever communicate through you by you picking out these electronic words and using the energy that they can do to pop the word out, and it'll pop out a word on the screen and audio.
sounds like an old
So
speaking
it
spell,
only
right?
says one.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, like the old speaking spell. Yeah, there
So
was
it only says one word at a time. It won't say any more than one. Just what?
It usually just pops out random words, but there's been a couple times where it's like a sentence. Like we were at the old high school in Goldfield, Nevada, and we were sitting there, and "I am the devil" popped out.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, so so not often will you get more than one word at a time. It'll just pop out a word, then another word, then another word. But these 3 words came out together: "I am the devil."
Do you think that it depends on the level of strength a certain entity has?
Oh, everything's energy. Everything that they need energy to communicate with you. That's why sometimes your equipment will go dead for no reason at all, because they're draining the energy from your equipment to try to communicate with you. And so
there's
the lower
equipment
the
out
energy,
there.
that's like sometimes when you get an EVP and it sounds like a whisper, it's probably actually, loud, but their energy level isn't enough to make it, where you can hear it that loud. So I think the more energy they have, the clearer the
the
EVP.
louder.
Yeah,
It's just like Titanic. You remember that scene where at the end? No, bear with me here, guys. At the end, and so at the end of the movie, stop. At the end of the movie, where she's in the water and she's cold and she's tired and she tries to call for help.
Asshole.
And all right, that wasn't.
She let Leo DiCaprio drown.
I would. He preys on young girls. So yeah, she did the world a favor. Anyway, so when she tries to call for help, she's like, help, help. And she can't get out, and she has to use a whistle, right? And I wonder if it's the same concept when somebody's trying to speak, and
let her die.
And somebody's trying to speak, and they don't have the energy for it, so they might be saying something like, "Hey, I'm here," but it's like, "Hey, I'm here," because they don't have and then that's where, because they make equipment specifically designed to feed. Like, whatever's here, you can use this to talk to us. Like, feed, and then speak. Like,
they should have left her on the door.
The what? Oh, you're still on Titanic? What's the matter with you?
I have some feelings towards that movie. Okay, they should have just left her ass on the door.
No, just stop.
Save some space.
Jeez. Anyway, no, it's just one of those things where I always say, if you're gonna go to a place where it's, charged with a lot of negative, emotions, you can go to places like Vegas, you can go to the Hoover Dam, you can go to, Massacre Rock, you can go to all these places where something, so heavy, took place. Go to the Alamo, and it's like, yeah, but the risk of those areas is, if you're just touring by and you don't know like what's going on, you're just there just for the excitement of regular life, whether it's gambling or whatever, you'll be fine. But if you openly want to communicate with somebody or with something, it's almost like that area is like, oh, okay.
It's because I believe when you're trying to communicate with them, you're opening yourself up.
Yeah.
And it gives them an opportunity to, do what they want to do if they want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. So there's people that are very experienced, or they're very gifted in certain things, and they open themselves up. They open the door ajar. They don't swing the door open. It's like they have that self-control. Like, okay, let's communicate, but you can't come in through here. This is how much room I'm giving you, and that comes with experience.
Yeah. Like I told you, now when I started feeling like really heavy, and I pull myself away from that environment and try to go out and
when to take a step back,
reset my feelings, and then maybe I'll come back and try it again. But yeah, from now I find myself, if it starts getting really bad, I actually pull myself away, like I should have did at Jamestown, but I didn't do. But I pull myself away and I go back and try to reset. So
yeah, like I said, a lot of that is experienced people that are like, all right, either I'm not in the right frame of mind, mentally or spiritually, I need to take a step back and kind of regroup and then go back in, or you're like, you know what, like this is not for me. So a lot of the people that step back and they're like, you know what, I'm not going in there, or I'm not doing this. A lot of people might see them, like, especially like if you're on TV and you're an investigator, people will see them like, damn, this dude got scared. He may be new at this, but in reality, it's like, no, this person's experienced and he knows enough to know that today's not the day.
Today's not the day.
Well, yeah, like
it's like when I went back to Jamestown with Ghost Adventures, I should have known enough after just walking into the place and how I felt not to go in there. But when Zach asked me if I'd go down in the basement with him, what other opportunity am I going to get to do this with them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went down there again, and yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, I don't feel
So
possessed.
I have to ask some questions about Zach since
Okay.
you've met him in person. Is he is he as big of a douche in person as he is on TV?
Well, let me tell you. I used to work at the
That's what
haunted
I was gonna
museum.
ask.
I used to work at his haunted museum, right? So
Hey,
I
is
had.
he like a decent person though?
Yeah, I tell everybody I've heard all these stories about Zach, and every interaction I've had with him, because I had some at the museum and I had some actually on the show. I've never had a negative experience with Zach. He's always been down to earth
Really?
and been pleasant. Yeah. And but
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
heard stories, but I've never personally experienced it. So me telling you how my experience is, I've never had an issue with Zach at all.
Yeah.
Now,
Makes
No, my
me
brother,
kind
my
of
brother
want
met
to
him,
meet him.
mhm,
and he said he was a nice guy. He was like, a lot of it is also how you approach people. I mean, I don't care if you're Zach Baggins or somebody else. Like, if somebody approaches you in a certain way, like, of course your response is not going to be, the kindest. It's,
Positive.
yeah. I mean, my brother's
I
met
can be
Zach
rude.
Baggins and Aaron, and he's like, yeah, they're just cool dudes. Like, he's like,
well,
hey, bro, we got a cooler over there full of Monster. You want one? It's just, you know,
well,
yeah,
let me
yeah.
let me
They were
let me
investigating
tell you the
Utah.
story. My first interaction with Zach, and it's even before I moved to Vegas. Right,
Oh,
my son. They were doing an episode in my hometown of Oakdale, California, and the show was called "The Crisis in Oakdale." So my son heard they were in town because they were spotted at the farmers market, or a little market we have on Thursdays over there. And my son goes, "Yeah, they're in town." He goes, "I saw a big RV down at the Holiday Inn Express." He goes, "Let's go to breakfast." And our restaurant where we go to breakfast is right across the street from the Holiday Inn Express, right? So he goes, "Let's just go down there and go eat breakfast." So we went down there, and we're driving by, and here's Zach coming out with the cart with all his luggage going to this big back. My son whips around, he goes in the parking lot, and he gets out of the truck. I'm staying in the truck because I go, I'm not gonna do it. My son goes, Zach, can we get a picture? Can I get a picture? And Zach looked at him, he goes, yeah, sure, come on. So he took a picture and goes, how about my dad in the truck? And he goes, yeah. So my son's going, come on over. So I get out
you were
of the
there rolling
truck.
the windows up.
Yeah, but yeah, he was accommodating, took pictures with us. So
That's
I mean,
awesome.
and that's even before I moved to Vegas or even met him. That's the first time I ever met the guy, and he was didn't tell us to get lost and leave me alone or anything. He said sure, and he was happy to take photos with us.
Yeah. So see, there you go, guys. So don't judge people. Anyways, guys, this was a
Yeah,
great episode.
Decon, you're one to
So
talk.
Now,
hey,
Aaron. I can honestly say is the nicest guy in the world.
yeah, he's a nice
I
dude.
would love
Oh,
to
dude,
meet Aaron.
I spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours talking to him out in the parking lot.
Why would you put a
Yeah.
hit
That
on
would
him?
be so
No,
epic.
no. I mean, we were just talking about our philosophies in ghost hunting and our philosophies in life and what we think, and he's a really nice guy. And Jay Wasley's a nice guy. I actually worked one of his functions for him here in Vegas. So, but yeah,
You should tell
Jay's.
people about his damn weight loss program. That dude lost a lot of weight quick.
Well, if you look at the Jamestown video, you'll see this big fat guy. That's me. I was 324 pounds in that video. Now I'm about
What?
190.
I was gonna say you've lost at least a hundo. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
A little bit over 100 pounds. Yeah, about
Oh,
120.
you're 8
Well,
feet tall.
congratulations.
Huh?
I said, oh, you're
No,
8 feet tall.
I'm only 5'9".
Oh, come on, you
Taller
short
than
guy.
you.
I'm
Sorry,
5'6".
Decon.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm
Decon's
5'6".
just a little guy.
Yeah, I'm short. Anyways, this was great, brother. We got to close the show, but remember, guys, head on over to Loot by Lottie. Use the promo code Lucky Loot. Get 10% off your first purchase. Head on over to the Silver Witch. Buy some of her spell bags. And brother, where can we find your stuff?
It's everything's Las Vegas Soul Searchers on TikTok, YouTube, and I have a Facebook page dedicated to my ghost hunting stuff. So,
All right, cool, brother. We'll put the
Beautiful.
links in the description. So
definitely.
we'll take care of you, man. And thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, and if you watch the video from Jamestown, let me know what you think. I always like feedback.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll get
Okay.
drunk first, and I'll watch it.
There you go.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. And remember, guys, to always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road.
Bye. Am I pressing